Imagine a quiet town suddenly thrown into chaos. A single hotel has become the epicenter of national outrage, protests, and legal battles, all because of one asylum seeker. What really happened, and why has this sleepy corner of Essex captured the attention of the whole country? Stay with us as we take you right inside the story. In Epping, Essex, a father and daughter are leading the charge against the housing of more asylum seekers in the Bell Hotel. Chris Whitbread, the council leader, and his daughter Holly, also a counselor, took legal action to temporarily stop the hotel from accepting new residents after a wave of intense protests outside the Bell. A judge stepped in and imposed a temporary ban, giving the council time to secure an interim injunction. The trigger for all this was an accusation against an asylum seeker who allegedly tried to assault a 14-year-old girl. The suspect denies the charges, but the incident ignited community anger and intense national debate. The town is not just reacting to one incident. This is about a community feeling its voice ignored and its safety questioned. Chris and Holly openly criticized Labor for lacking a clear plan to manage the migrant crisis. They even suggested that the Home Secretary should be relieved of her duties, warning that protests like those in Epping could spread to towns and cities across the UK. Chris Whitbread told reporters the government is failing on every level. He said when the Prime Minister focuses on international appearances rather than domestic challenges, it reflects a leadership out of touch with reality. He added that if decisive action is not taken, disputes like this will escalate, creating tensions that affect everyone. Holly Whitbread highlighted that the council voted unanimously to close the hotel, a rare agreement across all political parties in Epping Forest. She said the community will not stop fighting for its safety and cohesion, despite attempts by authorities to dismiss local concerns. The alleged assault and the protests that followed have shaken the town, and many residents support the closure of the hotel, while condemning outsiders who arrive with political motives rather than genuine concern. Since Labour's election victory, more than 50,000 migrants have crossed the English Channel in small boats arriving in the UK. The Home Office has taken steps to reform the asylum system, closing hotels and returning more than 35,000 people with no right to remain. The number of asylum hotels has dropped from over 400 in summer 2023 to fewer than 210, with plans to close all by the end of this Parliament. During a High Court hearing, the council argued that Somani Hotels Limited breached planning rules because the site was not being used as a proper hotel. They urged the court to grant an injunction, requiring the company to stop housing asylum seekers within 14 days. The company's barristers argued that such a move would create hardship for those inside, and that political concerns alone are not sufficient grounds for an injunction. Chris and Holly have been working together for a decade, tackling local issues. And while this challenge is among the toughest they've faced, they remain united in protecting their hometown. Chris insists Labour must present a proper plan to deal with the migrant crisis, describing the current arrangements with France as ineffective, almost laughable. Now pause and think, what would you do if your town was at the center of a national debate? Would you stand up like Chris and Holly or stay on the sidelines? How far should local communities be able to influence national policies? Can there ever be a balance between the rights of newcomers and the safety of residents? This story is bigger than a hotel. It's about leadership, community, resilience, and the delicate balance between public safety and humanitarian responsibility. The protests, legal actions, and public debate in Epping reflect a much larger conversation happening across the country about immigration, law, safety, and governance. For the people of Epping, this is deeply personal. Their families have lived here for generations in a town full of independent shops, cafes, pubs, and restaurants. The fight is not just political, it's about identity, pride, and the right to be heard. Chris and Holly's determination shows the power of local voices standing firm against challenges that feel overwhelming. As this story continues to unfold, the questions remain: will the council succeed in closing the Bell Hotel? Will the government implement a solution that satisfies both local communities and incoming migrants? Or are we witnessing the start of tensions that could ripple across the UK? How will local voices be heard in a debate dominated by national headlines and politics? Stay tuned as we continue to bring exclusive updates from Epping. The situation at the Bell Hotel is a mirror of a nationwide challenge, a glimpse into the complexities of immigration law, and a reminder of the fragile balance between public safety and humanitarian duty. Sources: Sunday Express, Home Office, Gov.uk.